At some stage I need to go around some of the older states because they've added in more viewpoints back in California and Arizona, I believe, and maybe even Utah.
Here we go.
Because I found the Monument Valley one when I was driving from Flagstaff up to Colorado in the first place.
Finding new route. Turn left.
Okay, I'm actually going to go straight through and discover what looks to be a truck
Never mind.
place up here.
Finding new route.
Yeah, it's another Western Star place, yeah.
Okay, let's find a new route.
I don't think there's any upgrades that I can do to my truck that I would want to do. It's pretty much only cosmetic things left to do now. Face reveal. This isn't the first time I've done a camera, but you may have missed the last time I did.
Turn right.
I was, I can't remember what I was playing actually, Subnautica probably, I think, a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, I was doing a bingo, I think, which would have been 3 weeks ago now probably. I have that, or at least a video from that on my YouTube, but yeah. Testing out a couple of different options on it, and it's, I had that one zoomed in too far I think, and I ended up having the top of my head cut off for half of it I think, because I naturally start leaning forward and I went out of the focus I think on it. Next weekend I've got a charity marathon that I'm taking part in, so I was wanting to have camera set up for that. So if there is any feedback on whether or not it is set up correctly, then please do let me know. If I am getting cut off in any way, or if the frame rate's a bit too choppy or anything like that. It's set to only be 240p, so the quality isn't great, but it's also a very small box, so it doesn't need to be that great. So.
Get ready to turn left. Turn left. Turn right.
Here we are.
We're here.
Around the back.
Right on time.
Not 2 months ago said I will not show my face on the internet. I didn't say that so much. It's more a fact that I couldn't be bothered getting like a actual webcam or anything. I'm using my phone. Like I'm using, I think it's the same thing Tori's mentioned that she's used, Droid Cam. Like it's not something that I see much value in, still.
You've got the contract.
Like it is a novelty. It's mainly because for the charity stream thing, like it makes it a bit more of a, I don't know, bit more of a interaction sort of rapport sort of thing going on. I feel that for something like a charity stream, it's more important to be able to have that sort of extra human element in it. For general streaming and recording and like my speedruns especially, I don't see any value in it. So I'm not likely to start using it all the time or anything like that. It will be for special occasions more than anything. And so at this point this is more or less a test, and I thought, well, I may as well just leave it going. I'm not using my phone for anything else, so especially since I've got the house to myself at the moment. Like last time I didn't, but again I was testing. But if I don't have the place to myself and I'm likely getting interrupted and having to, like, a lot of the time when I'm streaming I will mute myself occasionally and be talking to my wife because she'll be asking things, or my daughter will be making noise, or she'll bring my daughter up to come visit to watch what I'm doing for a bit, and I don't want my daughter on camera especially. So when I don't have the place to myself, I'm less inclined to have any sort of camera on. When we get a bigger house, I am hoping to have a separate office room, primarily for work, but I may also be able to use that more as a streaming room, potentially. But it's complicated because I'll still want to have my main computer in the living room, same as we've got at the moment, because, you know, that is our lifestyle. We usually have our computers in the living room with the TV on and stuff like that. So it becomes tricky to actually have a dedicated setup, because it's not like a PC is particularly portable. Depends what it is that I'm doing though. Google Pixel 4. I have a LG G7. It's a bit old now, but it still works. I only upgrade phones when they break. My last one, things just kept failing on it. I had an LG G4, and the 3.5mm thing started going on it, and that was annoying because I primarily used it to listen to music on the train. But then I got Bluetooth headphones, so I didn't have to worry about that. And then the Bluetooth started failing, so it's like, okay, I'm gonna have to look at something else. And then it stopped just making calls properly, like it was stopping connecting properly. So it's like, okay, well if it can't even work as a phone, I definitely need a new one. So I upgraded, and so far this one's been good. I have a protective case for it for a start. Nothing fancy, but prevents it getting too many knocks. And of course I still have Bluetooth headphones, so I don't use the 3.5mm on it. If the Bluetooth starts failing, then I'll start using a plug again if I need to. But the camera on the phone is quite good. I mean, the webcam is obviously a very restricted mode. It's not in any sort of high def or anything. You don't want to show your face, but you still want a face cam, simple 1x1p. I don't understand what you were saying, I'm sorry.
Turn right.
The other advantage of having some sort of camera enabled is I'm an active speaker, and I mean obviously I'm currently using both my hands, but for the times that I'm not, I can gesticulate wildly, which I like to do. So it feels a lot more natural when I'm talking. I mean normally when I don't have the camera on, I'm still often doing that. So you can just imagine when I'm describing things that my hands are doing this, unless they have to be on the keyboard. Which when I'm playing Truck Sim they don't, so... Oh, I just have one massive skin-coloured square, right, yeah. No, if I'd just do a paint thing like Somnic was doing at one point. He had a thing where it was face cam in the corner, but it was just a stick figure. But I don't want to do that now because he's done it. That's his thing. Is he joining with his face cam peeps? Is it some sort of secret club, is it? Do I get some sort of good thing out of it? I don't know. So it's pretty much just because of the charity stream thing that it became a thought at all. I am also the sort of person that when there is a possibility of doing something, I always like to just experiment. Like I was never going to get, and still don't intend to get, like a dedicated camera, because what's the point? But when you mentioned that, Tora, when you mentioned that you use your phone, I'm like, huh, that's a thing. Okay. It's like, now I kind of want to try that. Also, more legitimately, it becomes useful if I want to do like video calls with family and stuff. Without actually using just my phone, so I can use my phone on my computer. It's better than facecam, dogcam. I do not have a dog. I am allergic to most dogs, so just thinking about it made my nose itch. In occasions you don't use a cam, still catch yourself looking up and talking to where you keep it during streams. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I'm often looking over and talking to chat, because chat's over there. I don't actually think to look down there. I'm also not one that likes making eye contact anyway, so looking off into the middle distance while I'm talking to people is pretty normal for me. Thought about doing something like that when first asked you to face cam. Yeah, when people would, it has come up before. It's like, I'll just do a stick figure or like put a still image or something. I mean, my face is on the internet. I have a website with photos on it. I am not a private figure in that regard. It is really not difficult to find pictures of me. So it's less that I'm shy or anything like that. It's more a case of, does it add anything? Like, it is taking a small amount of extra processing power, less so because it's through the phone. That's the other advantage with doing it through the phone. The only thing that my computer is having to do is render from the browser window, because it goes through to as an IP camera, so it's just capturing a browser window. So it's not having to do a hell of a lot extra. But it's a case of, is it worth it? So, I don't know. Only you can tell me if it's worth it. And that's the other thing, is people seem to like it. So... Makes note, if I ever meet AJ and realize stare into eyes, you won't be able to, because I won't be staring at you. You can stare at my eyes all that you like. I don't expect to reciprocate. I have mirrored sunglasses, I'll just wear those.
Keep left.
All you will see is green. I have mirrored sunglasses with an emerald tint. And they're prescription sunglasses. The eye contact is hard, yeah. It just feels uncomfortable. It feels too intimate. And if I'm talking to, especially if it's people who are strangers, I don't want to feel close to you.
Left.
I'm just talking to you. Especially people at work. It's like, I don't want to feel close to you. I disagree with you. It's contextual, obviously. Like, in private conversation, if I'm talking to someone, then I will be, to an extent making eye contact, but I don't know, I was always taught that when you're listening to someone, to not look at their eyes, but look at their mouth. So when someone else is talking, I am usually looking at their mouth. Partly because that way it's easier to avoid any misunderstandings. Like, you don't have to worry about mishearing something because you see what their mouth is doing. So it's kind of a sort of lip reading thing in some respects. When I am talking to other people, I'm more likely looking out a window. They could look at me wherever the hell they like. I will be looking somewhere completely different. Usually over their head because I'm taller than they are. Still catch yourself talking to your chat screen and replying, yeah. Chat overlay on the game has helped break that. Yeah, I'm not a fan of chat overlay. I know a lot of people like it. Obviously I first noticed because Clove does it, and then other people have started doing that as well. I know it's easy enough to set up. On the one hand, when it comes from putting things that are Twitch VODs up onto YouTube, it's useful because you don't necessarily have to, like, normally when I'm replying to someone I will kind of repeat what it says before I reply to it, so that way when people are watching on YouTube they can understand the interaction that's going on. Whereas obviously having it on screen, you don't need to do that. The danger is that if someone says something in chat that I don't want to respond to, if they're trolling, if they're being obscene or anything like that, I just don't have to acknowledge it. I can completely ignore it. If it's showing on my screen, I can't do anything about that. So that becomes awkward. And the internet being what it is, I'm always a bit nervous about what people might want to be saying or doing in chat. So it's a lot easier to just not worry about it. This way, I am the filter between chat and the screen. The content that goes into a recorded video, therefore, is what I want it to be. If anyone's going to be obscene and run their mouth on stream, it's going to be me. How's Colorado doing for you? 20 bucks in your account since October, so you got it first day? Yeah, I got it the day it came out. It was really, I was so looking forward to it, and I'm loving it. Obviously, some parts of it, like this part of it, is a little bit on the boring side. That's why I'm able to be talking to chat and talking with my hands a lot more, because I'm sitting on a freeway. But the mountain areas especially I am a sucker for. The little twisty switchback roads that I've been driving through, the big canyons. Yeah, really nice. They've done a good job on it. I want to be able to run it on a higher resolution scale and have SSAO cranked up more so I can appreciate it better, but we've already discussed the stream about new graphics cards and not being able to justify affording one, so yeah. Because at the moment I'm getting frame drops down to 50 every now and then, 50 and below, even with SSAO on low. It's a bit disappointing. I don't know whether that's because I've got other things open as well. Obviously, I mean, I've got Pretzel playing music. That's not going to help. I've got browser open because I've got the camera on it. So all of those things do also impact performance. Because yeah, as they release their DLCs and add more detail into them, like there's more vegetation detail, there's more buildings off in the distance, I'm fairly sure the texture quality in general is higher. It makes me want to be able to appreciate it better. If anything's going to ban me on Twitch, it's me. Check goes too fast sometimes, and looking away trying to keep up doing speedruns is hard, yeah. I mean, that's why I do most speedruns offline instead of streaming, because I don't feel it's the same experience. Like, I'm sure that people would still be fine watching me do a speedrun on stream and not have as much interaction, but for myself, purely speaking selfishly, I don't want to be missing out on chat interactions when I'm occupied speedrunning. So that's just a conscious choice. Like, on the one hand, it's fun, especially just with bingo or something when I'm just bumbling around and not really putting as much effort into it. It's not as bad. I'm not as tunnel visioned on what I'm doing. But otherwise, I'm usually concentrating far too much, and then I'll be anxious about the fact that I'm missing chat interaction, so I'll be looking over there, and then I make mistakes, and then that makes me frustrated. So it's just a negative thing. Streaming thing might be causing lag too. Yeah, streaming by itself often doesn't, because it's using hardware encoding, so OBS reckons CPU utilization is like 1.6%. So it's not doing a hell of a lot. But yeah, because it's doing graphical encoding on that, then it is taking more video resource away from the game. So yes, you're probably right.
Keep right, and then turn right.
And a 1070 wasn't really designed
Here we are.
for kind of chat support and stuff. Okay, I'm gonna need a better angle, I think. At least I can just drive it straight in. Whew. For a second I thought I was going to be too far outside the line. Make smart on how to head's chat overlay on your games. Yeah, I'd find that more distracting and just find it even more annoying when music is taking up more storage than more processing power than streaming. Yeah. I don't know what utilization Pretzel takes up when playing. Not much, I don't think. It's very lightweight as an application. So, I need to go to Montrose and Durango. How long is that going to take? 20 minutes? How hungry am I? Think next state is Wyoming? Probably. That's that big black square above, isn't it? Is that Wyoming? Because that would make sense. I don't know my states very well. Which one's Wyoming, which one's Montana? So that's Wyoming, then that one would be Montana. That makes sense. So that way they don't have a big gap. Yeah, at one point I thought they were going to work their way down, but then I remembered in terms of order of operations, they've been working their way up. Because they did Colorado, Nevada, Arizona, Utah, then Oregon, Washington, Idaho. Well, New Mexico came in at some point earlier, didn't it? So Utah, then New Mexico maybe? And then Oregon, Washington? I can't even remember anymore. But yeah, now Colorado, and then be Wyoming, Montana, and then I assume they would... it's going to take a team a long time to do Texas, but I would assume that they would aim to do Texas after doing Montana. And then you've got, is it Kansas or something? I don't know what the rest of them are. These are the Dakotas I seem to remember. I could understand if they did the Dakotas in one DLC. Some of the smaller states, like these two, I could understand them doing in a single DLC as well. They could do like these two, Texas and its hat. So Texas is going to be big. Like that's as big as like a Euro Truck Simulator 2 DLC. I am expecting after Iberia is finished, so they've already announced that they're working on the next one, which I think is probably going to be Greece. But it could also be Ukraine. I'm not sure. But at some point they're going to run out of things to do in Euro Truck Simulator, and I imagine at that point the teams that are currently working on those will start working more on American Truck Simulator to fill out the states quicker. Under the Dakotas is Nebraska there. There's not much in Nebraska, so I could definitely understand them doing Nebraska and the one below it, because can't do Texas and Oklahoma at the same time. Why not? Most of Texas is empty space, to be fair. So, like, it's big in terms of the road networks you have to do, but it's mostly not a lot. So, that's going to help a bit. Base game, Arizona, New Mexico. So they went to... Yeah, so base game's California, Nevada, and then they went across. That's right. Yeah, New Mexico. And then Oregon, Washington, and then they'll work their way up. Utah, Idaho, yeah, now Colorado. But so they're going to do it in strips, basically. It'll be interesting to see. These weird state pride things. I would hope they wouldn't give a shit about that, quite frankly. I mean, they don't make sense, no, exactly. And a Czech company that is releasing the DLCs for the game are not likely to care about them. And nor should they. Which way am I going? Left. That's a wall. Hi. I put pedestrians on. That's right. What is he doing? I thought he was dancing for a second. Maybe I should turn the pedestrians off again. It's just one more thing for the game I'd have to figure out. Dead center of town.
Keep left. It's all over now. Let's go.
Touch. You know how every state has a second name, like Oregon is the Beaver State? I assume you mean Beaver State. Imagine what Alabama's is. I'm sure they have something. Should be the Banjo State. Well, that might be Arkansas.
Turn right.
Okay, you're gonna wait for me. Thank you. Okay, looks like there's a rest area somewhere. Oh, I've got 4 hours anyway, actually. Where is it having me go? That way. I don't want to go that way. I want to go this way. Because that way looks much more interesting. It like adds 2 hours to the trip time.
Ready to roll.
The Cotton State. Yeah, that makes sense. GP says it's all over now. Yep. It is foreboding. It's the voice actor who does Geralt in Witcher, so that's why he sounds so testy. So it'd be more of a crossbow as opposed to a gun. Though this is America. This is America. Boom! Yellowhammer, that's a bird. Or at least it is here. A yellowhammer is a type of, I think, a kind of goldfinch, essentially. Most states have like a state bird and a state animal and a state flower. Basically whatever they can cling to feel unique. So now this is a fun drive. Big Thompson River, apparently. I don't know how, but I want to work this road into a speedrun. You find some reason to drive from Fort Collins somewhere. Though, to be fair, it looks like there's a viewpoint up here. So if there's a viewpoint, then that's a given already. Squeeze. Commercial trucking is prohibited in this area. You have to turn around and go back. Well, just as well I don't have fines on then. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna do Canada Sim or Mexico Sims DLC after they're done America? Maybe. Back in 18 Wheels of Steel American Long Haul, they had the southern cities in Canada, which is to say all of the cities in Canada, and I believe a couple of Mexican cities as well. There was a lot of games back in the day that had very minute differences. I can't remember exactly which one was which, but I think it was American Long Haul, where you could actually drive coast to coast. And it had some of the Canadian cities and stuff. I would expect that they would do that still. They could do like Vancouver through to Edmonton and Calgary in one DLC, and then follow up with the eastern cities in a separate DLC. Because let's be honest, between Calgary and Winnipeg, there is nothing worth detailing. Like, why would you bother? That way they wouldn't have to wait until they've done all of the northern states before adding in Canada at all. But I have no idea what their intentions are. I would hope so. I would hope that they do intend on doing something like that. Alabama is both the cotton state and the peanut state. Okay, Georgia's all about the peaches. Georgia thick. Hate how people are getting mad at ECs for taking so long. Yeah, like it's a small team, the game is very detailed. Yeah, like a lot of people, they'll point at pro mods and stuff and go, oh look, they've managed to do so much more. Yes, because they are a very dedicated bunch of individuals who don't have to care about doing things well using existing resources. They're not having to invent the resources. I also believe that they don't have as close attention to detail in terms of realism. Let's take a look at this. Rocky Mountain Road. Like some people have done map packs, I believe, that basically function as mods for ATS that have more of the states, so you can like drive all the way across to New York and Florida and stuff. And the way that they do that is by just concentrating on put the roads in, put the cities in, reuse models and stuff that have already been developed for the game, and Bob's your uncle. They're not caring to the same extent as SCS do about new resources to put in that have unique things to every city. And certain features that make you, if you were to know the city, go, oh yeah, that's that. So it's a very different level of detail. Very nice place. One day I'll be able to get here and see things for myself. Looks like a nice road. And back. Oops. Didn't actually turn the engine brake on in the first place. What's my rest like? 2 hours and 35? There's another one down the road, looks like, so I'll go to the next one. Onwards. Let's see, so we can go 2 games. Pro Mods is just EC. Yeah, exactly. Pro Mods is just ETS2 predominantly. So there are some map packs for American Truck Simulator as well, but I think they're less dedicated. Euro Truck Simulator, being the older game, has a lot more bias on it. It's also the fact that you're talking with SCS, these are employees who work, you know, standard hours, presumably, 9 to 5 or whatever. I would hope that they don't overwork them like some gaming companies do. They seem a relatively healthy, cultured company, so I don't imagine they would do like crunches and stuff. I suspect that's one of the big reasons they don't tend to announce their release dates too far in advance for the DLCs. They just say, oh, this is what we're working on. And then it'll be like a week or 2 before the release that they will give you the date that on this day it will be available. And I believe that's because they're less worried about meeting a deadline than they are about doing a good job, which I really appreciate. And then versus the modding community for like pro mods and such, you've probably got people who don't have full-time jobs working on it more than 8 hours a day because that is what they are really interested to. I remember when I was a kid and I was working on custom maps for Warcraft 3 and designing maps for Unreal Tournaments, all those little passion projects that I had. I would spend all day on a weekend and into the night on the weekend playing in it because it was fun to do. It was very engaging. It's very different when you actually have a real job, or it is your real job, and you're trying to maintain some sort of balance. So there's hard songs for such simple things like driving a truck. It makes it more interesting. I mean, it is an upbeat playlist. I don't have it on the epic playlist or anything. Oh yeah, I was meant to actually stop there for a rest, wasn't I? I wasn't just driving through to explore it. I was actually meant to stop here. It's a nice place to stop too. Gonna leave your iPad in lurk mode, gonna head out for a few, getting late and haven't had dinner. Yeah, it's getting late and I haven't had lunch, which I was supposed to do. I kind of got caught up in the moment. When I saw that there was when I was looking at the job listings earlier, I was not expecting to find a delivery to one of the places I wanted to go. So I was going to call it there and just basically go, okay, well, there's nothing available, so we'll stop stream and next time we'll pick up and hope that we get lucky. But there was something, so so I kind of just jumped at it without thinking. And it's now 20 past 2 and I haven't had lunch. But I've also not been doing anything rather than sitting on my computer, so it's not like I need the extra energy. Also gonna go see you later? Fair enough, yep. Well, and that's the other thing, is that if everyone else is heading off to do their own thing, then I won't feel as bad about not streaming. We'll see how we go with this one. This road looks really fun to drive on. Oh, apparently I've already been through here when I was heading a different direction. Oh, that's when I went up to Steamboat Springs. Okay, so we're retracing our steps a little bit. We're getting some good coverage though. I still need to take the time to go back to some of the older states and explore more of the roads. There's quite a few places I've missed. Just been juggling, going between about 6 different games at the moment. And I have very limited amount of time to actually play them, so... And then add to that, having to go back into the office again for work more often. I also don't know when the others are going to be home. I will probably not have the house to myself for too much longer, so we will probably finish this one off. I mean, theoretically I could just leave it whenever, because I've got 16 hours, so I can come back to it tonight. Actually, fuel is an issue. Need to find somewhere to stop for gas. I really need to map out the viewpoint speedrun at some point, because that's going to be a fun one, I think. so many nice twisty roads to go on. Idaho had a few good ones, but I think this one's going to be a lot more, because most of the viewpoints I suspect are biased much more towards the mountain areas than the flatlands, as you'd expect. I mean, one of the viewpoints in Idaho was like a potato farm, I think. Love the sunray effects. Dawn on another nice day. I think the others are home now. Yeah, I'm gonna pull it up here and then I'm just gonna call time on the stream. Thanks everyone for watching, those who came along, and I will see you next time.